Did you know America's first official airmail flight launched from Indiana in 1859? Or that Eli Lilly began his global company inside a tiny brick building in Indianapolis? From devastating fires to college life and factory pride, these forgotten photographs uncover Indiana's hidden role in shaping America's 19th century.
Indiana State House, Indianapolis, 1900. Standing in grandeur, the Indiana State House rises with its Renaissance Revival dome and ornate facades, symbolizing government authority and civic pride. Completed in 1888, it housed all branches of state power. This turn-of-the-century image captures the Capitol's commanding presence, framed by bare trees and empty grounds awaiting spring. North Delaware Street, Indianapolis, 1900. Tree-lined sidewalks stretch into the distance, framing tidy homes and fences along North Delaware Street. This serene view captures Indianapolis at the dawn of the new century, where order, shade, and architecture symbolized civic pride. The street reflects a city embracing modern growth while preserving a sense of neighborhood calm. Main Street in Winona, Indiana, 1900. This photograph captures Main Street in Winona, Indiana, around 1900. Lined with small shops and shaded by trees, the unpaved road reflects the quiet rhythm of Midwestern small-town life. Once an independent settlement, Winona is now part of the Bass Lake community, yet its charm endures in this timeless image. Family Group in Crawfordsville, 1899. Captured in the spring of 1899, this photograph shows the Krengy family working in their garden on the Wabash College campus in Crawfordsville, Indiana. The mother holds a watering can, while children lend a hand. A simple domestic moment, it reflects the rhythms of everyday Midwestern life at the century's end.
Dodge's Institute of Telegraphy, Valparaiso, 1899. This modest brick building housed the Dodge Institute of Telegraphy, once the largest telegraph and railway instruction school in America. Founded in 1874, it trained generations of operators who kept the nation connected. By 1899, it symbolized Indiana's role in advancing communication, bridging the age of railroads with the dawn of wireless. Lowell Town Fire, 1898. In the early hours of October 4, 1898, a massive fire swept through Lowell, Indiana, reducing nearly every business building on the north side of Commercial Avenue to ashes. The estimated $85,000 loss crippled the town. Only a timely rainstorm spared the south side from a similar fate, leaving behind haunting ruins. Dining Room, Soldiers' Home, Marion, 1898. In this vast dining hall, rows of Civil War veterans sit shoulder to shoulder, their expressions a mix of discipline and weariness. The long tables stretch endlessly, filled with simple meals, evoking both camaraderie and solitude. This image captures the regimented yet fragile lives of aging soldiers. Original rock wool plant, Alexandria, 1897. In 1897, Alexandria witnessed the opening of its rock wool plant, part of the industrial surge fueled by Indiana's gas boom. Rock wool, created from molten stone, was a groundbreaking insulation material. This November 2, 1897 photo shows workers outside the new facility, capturing a community stepping boldly into modern industry.
Today, at this very moment, are you enjoying this nostalgic trip? Like and subscribe now to follow all 50 U.S. states in rare, colorized photos. Don't miss the rest of the journey. Electric streetcars in Indianapolis, 1896.
This photograph shows a streetcar in downtown Indianapolis during the city's transition from horse-drawn trolleys to electric streetcars. Although the system had begun electrification in 1890, animal-drawn cars still operated for a few years. This image reflects the overlap of old and new technologies shaping urban life. Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes, University of Notre Dame, 1896. This is the oldest known photograph of the Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes at the University of Notre Dame, taken in 1896. It depicts priests and brothers of the Holy Cross in prayer at the newly constructed grotto. A timeless symbol of faith, the grotto remains a cherished spiritual site for generations of students and visitors. Corydon, Indiana, 1896. This panoramic photograph captures Corydon, Indiana in 1896. Once the state's first capital, Corydon retained its historical importance long after the capital moved to Indianapolis. The image reveals a small but thriving community with churches, homes, and civic buildings surrounded by the rolling hills of southern Indiana, echoing the town's early role in state history. Benjamin Harrison speaking in Bloomington, 1896. This rare photograph captures former U.S. President Benjamin Harrison addressing a crowd in Bloomington, Indiana in 1896. The decorated platform draped in American flags reflects the patriotic atmosphere of the era. Though no longer in office, Harrison's words still carried weight, drawing large gatherings in his adopted home state.
The Munson Company, LaPorte, 1896. This illustration from an 1896 trade catalog highlights the Munson Company of LaPorte, Indiana. It shows a horse-drawn carriage in front of the business, capturing the transition era when carriages symbolized both commerce and mobility. Such images remind us of Indiana's role in America's industrial and transportation history. S.C. Koch Drugs, Fort Wayne, 1895. Inside this elegant pharmacy, polished counters and tall shelves lined with bottles display precision and pride. Three men pose formally, framed by ornate woodwork and glass jars. More than a drugstore, it was a hub of trust and science, where medicine met community in late 19th century Indiana. Sneath Glass Factory, Hartford City, 1895. Hartford City's skyline once echoed with the hum of the Sneath Glass Factory. Built during Indiana's gas boom, this plant embodied the state's industrial surge. Here, glassware and utility products were made by hand and fire. The factory would later move to Wabash Avenue, continuing its mark on the region's history. Columbia School, Valparaiso, 1894. Standing tall with its turrets and arched doorway, the Columbia School represented both pride and progress in Valparaiso. Completed in 1893 at a cost of $14,000, it welcomed students into an era where education was seen as the foundation of civic growth. Its architecture echoed ambition and permanence. Bird's eye view of College Hill, Valparaiso, 1894. From this elevated view, Valparaiso's College Hill unfolds as a community shaped by education and civic pride. The Northern Indiana Normal School's auditorium and the Columbia School dominate the skyline, while the Grand Army of the Republic Opera House stands as a cultural beacon, still active more than a century later. Train wreck at Big Four Depot, Lafayette, 1893. Twisted debris litters the tracks at Lafayette's Big Four Depot after a devastating train wreck. Collapsed roofs and derailed cars framed stunned onlookers, gathered in disbelief. Smoke lingers above the ruined station, a stark reminder of both industrial progress and its perils. This tragedy marked Tippecanoe's rail history indelibly. English Lake Saloon, Indiana, 1892. This wooden-frame saloon stood as the social hub of English Lake, Indiana in the late 19th century. Families and townsfolk gathered here, as seen in this rare image from 1892. More than just a bar, saloons like this shaped community life, blending leisure, trade, and the rhythm of rural America. Riverside Boulevard, Indianapolis, 1890. A dirt road curves gently along the riverbank, shaded by towering trees that whisper of leisure and escape. This quiet stretch of Riverside Boulevard captures Indianapolis before the automobile age, when horse-drawn carriages and evening strolls connected residents with nature in a city eager to modernize yet preserve serenity.
Teachers College of Indianapolis, Class of 1890. Students of the Teachers College of Indianapolis pose proudly as the Class of 1890. With 72 members, including women at the forefront of education, this group embodied Indiana's commitment to progress. Linked to the Blakers kindergarten training class, their legacy shaped the foundations of modern teaching across the state. Family Farm at Selmire Hill, Brown County, 1890. Nestled in rolling hills, this farmstead in Brown County shows barns, cabins, and workyards bustling with rural life. Families relied on such complexes for survival, blending livestock, crops, and community labor. The rugged landscape of Selmire Hill frames a vivid portrait of Indiana's agrarian roots in the late 19th century. Virginia Avenue in Indianapolis, 1889. Virginia Avenue in 1889 bustled with shops, wagons, and street life, captured here from Shelby Street looking northwest. The subscription fountain on the right symbolized community pride, while storefronts lined the avenue with energy and promise. This scene reflects Indianapolis at the threshold of modern growth and neighborhood identity. Phi Gamma Delta Fraternity at DePaul University, 1889. In 1889, members of the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity at DePaul University posed together in formal rows, standing, seated on chairs, and on the floor. Their expressions reflect youth, ambition, and brotherhood. This portrait captures both the traditions of collegiate life and Indiana's role in shaping higher education in the 19th century.
Front Gate, St. Mary of the Woods, 1888. The front gate of St. Mary of the Woods opens onto the grounds of the Sisters of Providence in St. Mary's Institute. Captured in 1888, the scene reveals the quiet dignity of Indiana's earliest Catholic women's college, where faith and education shaped generations in a serene, tree-lined setting. Market House and Tomlinson Hall, Indianapolis, 1888. From the courthouse cower in 1888, this view shows Indianapolis's Market House on the right and Tomlinson Hall on the left. Together, they anchored the city's civic and commercial life, one a bustling marketplace, the other a grand hall for gatherings. Their presence reflected a capital alive with commerce, debate, and community. Soren's Grotto, University of Notre Dame, 1886. The first grotto at Notre Dame, built in 1886, stood near the Basilica of the Sacred Heart, with a Marian statue at its heart. Created under Father Edward Soren, it served as a place of prayer and reflection until replaced in 1896. This rare image preserves its spiritual legacy. Men with Bicycles, Indianapolis, 1886. Rows of men proudly pose with their bicycles outside the H.T. Hersey Bicycle Store at Pennsylvania and Ohio Streets in Indianapolis. In 1886, cycling was more than sport, it was a revolution in personal mobility. This photograph reflects the city's embrace of progress, leisure, and the spirit of a modernizing age. The Bates House Hotel, Indianapolis, 1885. The Bates House stood proudly at Washington and Illinois Streets, once the grandest hotel in Indianapolis. By the 1880s, it bustled with travelers, rail passengers, and social gatherings. Abraham Lincoln had spoken here in 1861, making it a landmark of history as well as hospitality in Indiana's growing capital. Baptism at Lost River, Orange County, 1884. Dozens gather along the Lost River's banks as white-robed believers step into the waters for baptism. These ceremonies were not only acts of faith, but also major social occasions, binding communities together in 19th century Indiana. The photograph reflects both spiritual devotion and the deep communal ties of rural life. The Great Flood of 1884, Lawrenceburg.
Floodwaters swallowed the streets of Lawrenceburg, leaving homes and businesses half submerged beneath the Ohio River's relentless rise. City Hall, with its tall cupola, stands as a fragile sentinel above the disaster. This haunting image shows a community overwhelmed yet still clinging to resilience in the face of nature's fury. Welty Brothers Furniture Store, Bern, 1883. The Welty Brothers Furniture Store stood as a cornerstone of Bern's Swiss immigrant community. This modest wooden building offered both craft and commerce, where neighbors gathered as much as they shopped. The photograph captures the entrepreneurial spirit of Indiana's small towns, built on hard work, faith, and fellowship.
Knightstown, Indiana, Fairgrounds, 1880. At the Knightstown Fairgrounds around 1880, photography itself was part of the spectacle. On the left, the parlor photograph tent proudly advertised Conover, the old reliable, while the right-hand tent drew crowds as the Bon Ton Picture Gallery. These traveling studios offered everyday Hoosiers the rare chance to pose for portraits during community gatherings. Eli Lilly on Pearl Street, Indianapolis, 1876. In this modest brick building on Pearl Street, Colonel Eli Lilly founded his pharmaceutical company in 1876. Beginning with just 10 employees, he pursued integrity and innovation in medicine. From these humble origins in downtown Indianapolis, Eli Lilly and Company would rise to become a global leader in pharmaceuticals. L.S. Ayres Department Store, Indianapolis, 1875. The first L.S. Ayres store rose on West Washington Street in 1875, transforming downtown Indianapolis retail. Built on the former Trade Palace site, the 8-story structure became a hub for fashion, housewares, and a famous soda fountain. Though replaced in 1905, this original building marked Ayres' lasting legacy. Sleet Storm, Valparaiso, 1871. A frozen silence grips Valparaiso as ice blankets the road and trees during the catastrophic sleet storm of 1871. Considered among Porter County's worst, the storm immobilized travel and threatened livelihoods. This rare photograph preserves both the stark beauty and destructive force of winter weather in 19th century Indiana.
Mooresville High School, Mooresville, 1866. Students and teachers gather outside the first high school in Mooresville, a modest brick structure erected in 1866. Built just after the Civil War, it reflected Indiana's commitment to education and progress. Though humble in design, this schoolhouse symbolized opportunity and a growing belief in knowledge as a cornerstone of community life. Lafayette, Indiana. First airmail delivery, 1859. On August 17, 1859, Lafayette, Indiana witnessed history, the first official airmail delivery in the United States. A hot air balloon lifted off before a massive crowd, carrying letters destined for New York. Though the experiment was brief, it marked Indiana as the launch point of America's aerial postal service, decades before airplanes made it commonplace. Pennsylvania Street, Indianapolis, 1857. This rare daguerreotype, taken around 1857, is among the earliest known photographs of Indianapolis. It shows N Pennsylvania Street as a dirt road viewed northward from the Metropolitan Daguerrean Gallery on E Washington Street. The original plate's location is unknown, but its capture preserves a moment from the city's infancy. East Main Street, Valparaiso, 1856. Horse-drawn wagons roll past the Empire Block and Tremont House on Valparaiso's East Main Street. Captured in 1856, this rare view preserves the city's early commercial heart, where hotels, shops, and churches anchored daily life. Some structures, like Empire Block, would endure, linking modern Valparaiso to its mid-19th century foundations.
From bustling streets to quiet farms, from the first official airmail delivery to grand colleges, Indiana's past lingers in every faded photograph. These images remind us that progress and struggle walked hand in hand. As the 19th century closed, the Hoosier state stood resilient, its stories etched forever in America's unfolding journey.